So Samsung's got a bit of a problem right now. The biggest player in the Android space has, well, let's be completely honest, flat out fumbled its One UI 7, aka Android 15 rollout. I think it's an exceptional update, but they're kind of messing up the whole thing with this fumble. And what is next? Well, let's get into it. If you want more Android and Samsung news and anything on top of that in between, there's going to be opinions, updates, and all of that jazz, well then hit that subscribe button and join our growing member of like-minded individuals. So after a few months of delay, Samsung finally started pushing out One UI 7 a couple of weeks ago to devices that are eligible for this, only to abruptly pause the update for no clear or obvious reason. Samsung's statement about the delay offered absolutely zero clarity, just vaguely hinting at a possible issue. But of course, there are some potential explanations floating around online. So to simplify, Samsung essentially pulled the firmware for the One UI 7 update for the Galaxy S24, the Z Fold 6, the Z Flip 6, and that was just a few days after it was pushed out to those handsets. Samsung confirmed this, initially saying that they'll share an updated schedule shortly. The company's statement just barely acknowledged the abrupt nature of this delay, nor did it offer any deeper explanation for why it might have happened, what could have caused it, just, as I say, vaguely hinting that there might be an issue of some kind, which is really frustrating if you're someone who may have already installed that update. Now here's where it gets interesting. It seems like Samsung discovered a bug where some Galaxy S24 owners couldn't actually unlock their phones. On Reddit, a few users also posted a bug with a squished and squashed lock screen, making it practically unusable. It's unclear if that is the specific game-breaking bug, but it would definitely be a bit of a showstopper, we must admit. There are also reports pointing to battery drain issues or severe battery drain issues and a security loophole in Samsung's secure folder function. I've actually never used this on my S25 Ultra, so I don't know anything about that, but you let me know if you use this feature and if it's useful to you. The thing is, at this point in time, we probably will never pinpoint the real reason for the pause in this rollout, but One UI 7 is actually shaping up to be Samsung's messiest software launch ever, and they've had a lot of messy software launches. It just really is at this stage. Galaxy users, they can't seem to catch a break at this point in time, specifically if you don't have a brand new phone, as only the S25 Ultra ships with Android 15 pre-installed. With the initial One UI 7 delay, there is going to be another delayed or staged rollout to account for these problems. The Korean tech giant released a updated schedule. The biggest frustration for me though is that it pushes some devices way back to July, which is a lot longer than we anticipated, and that's a bit of a kick in the teeth because what the hell have all of those One UI betas been for at this point in time? Felt like it was running forever, and if beta updates don't squash bugs, then what's the point of running a public-facing preview? I don't really see the point if you're going to make such big problems. According to a new notice though that was shared in the Samsung members application, which was naturally initially spotted by eagle-eyed people on Reddit, as I alluded to a second ago, Samsung pushed some devices all the way back to July with that latest or updated One UI 7 schedule, and that could be to account for some fixes that they need to add for specific hardware. The original update schedule was updated earlier in the month, but those dates are now practically invalid for all of the phones that they account for. Most of these have been pushed back just a little bit, but the Galaxy S23, for example, is now slated to get One UI 7 in May instead of April, so that's a bit of a frustration. The Galaxy S24, Z Fold 6 and Z Flip 6 are still listed for this month, that's being April, and at least at the time of this video going live, the rollout appears to have restarted with no major issues. The full rollout schedule though now stretches, as I noted, to later on in the year. I think July is pretty late in the year. The only upside is that the Galaxy Tab A9 is the last device, the only device actually slated to get that in July. So here's the updated schedule, which you can see on screen now. So for April, it's limited to the S24 series, the Z Flip, the Z Fold 6. In May, a whole bunch of devices. This is going to be the biggest rollout of all. This includes the S23, the Z Fold 5, the Z Fold 4, some other Galaxy Tabs, those mid-rangers and those recently released ones. They're all getting Android 15 then. In June, it's just a cleanup rollout of other devices, including Galaxy A series, M series, F series, and some more Galaxy Tabs, usually the cheap ones. The only device to get updated in July is a Tab A9, which I don't know why, that just seems to be the last one that's going to be updated. I think one of the few complaints I have is that this new One UI 7 schedule at least shows the month of each device, but that's when it should get the update. I think the worst thing is that it might not be in that exact order, so Samsung might release yet another schedule, but this is the most current one. It's hard to ignore the pattern here as well. Samsung, a company that absolutely dominates Android, or at least the Android space, and accounts for nearly 1 in 4 Android phones sold globally, really seems to be struggling with software updates as of late. And this isn't just a minor hiccup. I think it personally erodes trust in buyers and actually raises questions about their ability to deliver a smooth user experience right out the box. Now, I know what some of you are probably thinking out there. Software updates, that's not really a big deal. Well, in today's world, as people are holding onto their phones for longer and devices are getting updated for longer schedules, it really is. Software is naturally the backbone of your smartphone. It dictates the performance to a great extent, features, security, and in lots of ways, as someone who prefers Android over other operating systems, it definitely dictates overall user satisfaction. A botched update like this can turn a premium device into a buggy mess or a broken mess, leading to frustration and disappointment, and you might want to just throw your phone out the window. What annoys me more is that One UI 7, based upon Android 15, is an absolute home run. I'd say it's brilliant and one of my favourite ways, or at least one of my favourite versions of Android to try right now, and it's one of the reasons why I'm using a Galaxy S25 Ultra. To add another layer of frustration, and I'm sorry for doing this so far throughout this video, One UI 8 has also leaked at this point in time. That's based upon Android 16. It's just a wild situation all around here. So while Samsung is still trying and fumbling to get One UI 7 out the door, we're getting details about the next version. Please make this whole situation make sense. So I want to give you a little bit of an overview of One UI 8 because it's not going to be a huge update, I don't think. From the leaks here, we're seeing it's a fairly minor tune-up focusing on refinement and potentially under the hood changes, which honestly is probably what's needed after such a, what would be considered a pretty major redesign in One UI 7. I think it's a fantastic update with lots of really important changes. Just getting back to One UI 8 for a second, some of these changes include Now Brief being widely available on more hardware. I don't know if it's technically exclusive to the S25 and Z Flip 6 at this point in time, but it will potentially come to more devices as it is an AI-powered feature, I think. Log support for the camera app is also coming for video, providing lots of flexibility for you if you want to make and shoot videos on your phone. A translucent new menu and updated added recently section is available in the file manager, so that will be really good if you want to access your files quickly. There's a 2-tab design for the receive and send in quick share, but that might technically be related to a quick share update that's coming to most people out there. That's practically the extent of One UI 8. These changes do sound good. They're nice little quality of life additions. I'm sure there's going to be lots of extras under the hood. I think it makes the fact that One UI 7 is still not out the door for everyone even more confusing. If Samsung is already working on One UI 8, they really need to make sure the update is practically perfect and is going to be chock full of things that make phones run better. They really can't afford another botched rollout like this. Also, another question I have over my head here is, what's going to happen to the monthly patches, or at least the monthly patches for those devices that were supposed to get One UI 7 slightly earlier? Are they going to be missing at least until Android 15 updates arrive on those devices? I think just Samsung really needs to get their act together here, be clear about this, send out some messaging that actually clears up confusion to people. They definitely need to prioritize software stability and timely updates moving forward, and it's something they have done recently really, really well. They've improved drastically over the past 4 or 5 years. They just need to clearly communicate with their users and be transparent about these delays and issues, and for so far they haven't really done that. It's not about pushing the latest version of Android, it's about delivering a really polished, reliable experience that really enhances the value of the devices, and that's something that One UI has tried to do since its inception. So realistically, this whole debacle is a real wake-up call for Samsung. They need to start addressing this thing head-on, or they're going to really tarnish the reputation and, dare I say it, start losing ground to some competitors, much like OnePlus, much like Xiaomi, who can push out these updates quickly, that they are proving they can do that, and they're hungry to take their crown anyway. The Android world and Android fans like you and me, we're watching, we pay attention to this, and I must admit, I do hope Samsung can turn things around because, as I say, they are the flag bearer, they're the biggest brand in Android, and they dictate and effectively showcase to everyone out there that they can handle this. If they can't handle it, can anybody else? So that's my take on this whole One UI 7 situation. I think it's a really frustrating time if you're a Samsung owner. If you have an S25, well, you're not affected like I am, but it's still annoying if you have an S24, S23, all those kind of devices out there. What do you think? Are you experiencing these issues? Are you frustrated by this? I mean, let's put it into perspective. Android 15 launched back in October 2024. We're now getting close to summer 2025, and not all Samsung phones are updated. It's not a good look, is it? If you're waiting for the update, let me know your thoughts. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you later.